Okay, so today is Monday, February 20th. This is the Illuminate team call, and I'm Melissa Magleby. I will be running today's call, and like I said on our post in the team group, today's just going to be like an open forum. So it's going to be more of, kind of discussing, going back and forth with ideas or questions for anybody who might have some. So Kelly has reached out to a few of us, and we are going to start running the team calls every Monday. Every Monday, something different is going to be running the call. So it's going to kind of keep things exciting, but with Kelly traveling the world and, us wishing that we had her life, we're all going to try to work together and keep each other motivated and make sure that we're all on the same path. So for anybody who is joining in, make sure you are on mute. It's greatly appreciated. As well as make sure you have any questions ready. So what I am going to start with is I want to go ahead and open up the call to you guys. And I want to talk about some topics that you guys might have some troubles with, you might be struggling with, might need a little bit more information. This is so that we can have a list of topics to be talking about within our future team calls. So whoever wants to go first, go ahead.
Can I go first?
Go ahead.
Okay, so the thing that I struggle the most with is being consistent with my power hour and actually sitting down and doing it, and it not being like a chore, it being something that I enjoy doing instead of something that I feel like, oh my God, now I have to sit down and do this and be so uncomfortable while I do it. Does anybody else feel the same way?
I kind of.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I was going to say, yeah, I totally agree. That's a good one.
No, I totally see where you're coming from on that. I kind of struggle with it myself. I have my ups and downs and like the days where it's like I feel like, yes, I'm so ready to do this. I'm ready to go. Like I want to have the life that I've dreamed of. But then there's days where it's like, I don't want to do anything at all. So let's come up with some ideas for that. What if we did like some live power hours maybe like within the group? Would that be something that helps where you're not doing it alone?
Personally, I think that would be wonderful because I don't think I was ever actually shown how to do a power hour. Like I kind of read it from posts in other groups prior to joining this. So I don't even really know that I have the ins and outs. And so I was kind of random with it because I didn't really have the guidelines on how it went. Does that make sense?
Totally makes sense. I definitely get where you're coming from. I mean, my struggle as well has been like, kind of doing it alone and not feeling like I have anybody to do it with and feeling like maybe I'm doing it wrong. So I'll put it out there. I mean, definitely there's no way that you're doing it wrong. As long as you're moving forward with something, you're doing it right. So I think that maybe if we got like, a list of people willing to host live power hours, maybe like a couple times a week, would that be helpful for you?
I think that would, personally, I think that would be amazing because I come home from work after a 9-hour shift. I work out, I do my walk or whatever, and there's literally 2 hours still spent in front of a television. So, I mean, it would be totally beneficial to me to sit down with a group of people who are doing the same thing that I can throw a question at any point in time and wonder if I'm, fucking doing this right or if I'm doing it wrong.
Okay. Well, like I said, I feel like there's no right or wrong way to do it. As long as you're doing something, you're moving forward with your business and that's doing it right. That's just my personal opinion on it. Does anybody else have any opinions on power hours?
The only concern or the only problem I ran into is I think doing them like as a group is great, but just finding someone or a group where our times are the same. So like I do a lot of my work either early morning before I even get the kids up for school, or it's so late at night since I'm on the West Coast, everyone else is sleeping. So, but I think the power hours, whatever time, like that would be great for all of us.
Okay. So, you're talking about possibly having like separate groups, maybe, different time zones, or say, hey, I'm doing a power hour this day at this time. Feel free to join me. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm just asking, I guess, like what times were you guys thinking? Because I've tried to do this before, or I know, I think Ariana, like last year, did the one that I really like where we brainstorm ideas to post about, and we just like all jumped on the phone. But the issue I think we have is everyone's works at different times or sets at a different time. So it kind of didn't last that long. So that's like my only concern with that, or like, you know what I'm saying? I don't think we should have to do different groups, no.
Right. Okay. So, what could be an option is somebody does it live within the group, and with it being live means it's being recorded and it's going to stay in the group. So that being said, anybody who works at a different time could also go back and just work with the recording and do that. Would that work for you? Or would maybe having a success partner, somebody, i.e. me on the West Coast, say we were to work together, and do it at the same time, which would work better for you?
I think personally for me, probably having somebody that, even if I just like checked in nightly, like, okay, did you, or check, like an hour after it's supposed to be done, like, okay, are you sitting down to do your power hour? Did you do your power hour? Something like that. But if we could be like go in the group at the same time, that would be great too. I'm just thinking with there only being so many of us on the call, like maybe it would be better for me to just have one person to go to.
Okay. So here's my idea is take advantage of both. So having the live power within the group, it can be offered at different times. Whoever is going to be running the power hour can have their, free will as to what time they want to do it at, and whoever's available can do it with them, whether it be morning or night or, whatever might work. But also, I think that having a success partner is definitely crucial. That's definitely something I'm looking for. So if you and I want to connect later on privately, we can always talk about that. But for everybody, speaking in general, having a success partner is going to be, like I said, crucial to your success, because that's holding the both of you accountable. And that way it's one-on-one and not necessarily a group of people. And you feel more obligated to tell that person, like the truth or whatever's going on, and you guys can help each other out. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's great.
Okay. Now, speaking of success partners, does everybody here have a success partner?
I do.
You do? Awesome. So, Sarah, with your success partner, what do you guys do together?
I think it would be easier to sum up what we don't do together. And that's not live in the same country, not live in the same time code. And that would probably be it. Other than that, Kimber and I pretty much do everything together. We run our challenge groups together. If one of us has an idea that we're kind of unsure of, we bounce it off of each other, but we talk consistently on a daily basis. If we're not speaking for more than 48 hours, the other one is probably concerned as to what's going on in that person's life. She's literally become my best friend that I have never met.
Oh, you guys are sweet. You guys have never met each other?
We have never met each other, no.
We have never physically met at all. We FaceTime on a regular basis, but no, not physically.
Do you guys plan on going to Summit?
I'm sorry, say that again?
You plan on going to Summit?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Actually, it's only like 2 states away from me, so
Lucky you.
yeah.
Well, good. What about you, Sarah? You at Summit?
I have got my ticket to go to Summit. I just need to plan the other stuff. I'm probably in the most remote place in North America right now. So me getting there is really contingent on a lot of things, and that's even being able to fly out of where I'm located. So
Definitely feel you on that. Well, from experience, doing Summit for the first time last year it changed my life, and it totally changed the. Oh, Kimber, I'm going to mute you real quick, okay?
Fine.
It totally changed my perspective on, Beachbody and the way that I want to run it. Granted, I haven't gotten to the point that I want to be at, but going to Summit is going to be so important for your business because it's totally going to change your mindset. So I highly recommend you find any way possible to get there. And I was talking to Ariana about it earlier, but if anybody wants to talk about getting a place together, let's talk about it privately, but it's definitely important that you try to go. So we've got power hours, wanting to feel like, it's something that you enjoy, not a chore. Maybe doing live power hours, and then also having your success partner and having somebody to work with on a daily basis. Does anybody have any comments on that so far? No? Okay. Let's see. What else? What is going to be some other team call topics that you guys are wanting to hear more about? Anybody feel free to speak up.
So something that I'm doing, sorry, I'm still trying to get out of the store, is sharing your story. Okay. So what I did before is just the exercise where you kind of do like a brain dump about different things that you feel like are a part of your story. And then, okay, that's fine. Yeah, anyway, sorry, it's like you talk about your story and about like the things that make you who you are, that make you unique. And then that's helpful to draw upon different topics that you bring up on your Facebook page. So there's probably things that are about you that you don't think are really that interesting, but you don't really know until you put it out there. So I like to do that exercise every couple months just to bring out new ideas and things to talk about. Because I think a lot of times, like, I felt like when my posting schedule was like not authentic enough, or I was trying too hard to like think of things to put into it. And so this exercise helps you to draw out different kind of topics. So that's what I have coming up on March 20th. Any questions, guys? 11. No?
Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. So you said you're doing that on March 20th. Awesome. I think that's something that we definitely need help with. It's like there's some things where it's like, I'm really open about it, but there's also some things that I kind of keep on the back burner that I feel, I don't want to share, or I'm not sure about sharing. So we think that having another person's opinion and perspective on it will definitely be helpful.
It's always a really powerful exercise. I mean, I've done it on 2 different calls, and somehow we ended up in tears, like, because it's real, it's like your real life. It's who you are.
Yeah. And I think that everybody kind of needs a little bit of a wake up call every now and then.
Exactly.
A little reminder.
Exactly. So.
Alrighty. Any other topics that anybody really wants to hear about?
Can I add another thing?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. I just feel for the past, Kimber and I, even longer, haven't had a team call in probably, 7-8 months, Kimber? So we were part of another team, and now we're a part of this team. But I would just like to wonder, because when you don't have something, you don't have that support, necessarily a way of connecting with people on a weekly basis. When I'm questioning whether I should post it or not, or whether I'm questioning whether this is good or if it's shit, or if I should take a different route or not. Like, are we all in agreement that we can post it in this group and just be like, what are your thoughts on this? Tell me if I should post it before I post it so I can save myself a little humiliation before I throw something out there that's absolute garbage over something that I take the time to write and compose. Does that make sense? Do you understand what I'm saying?
Kind of. So you're talking more along the lines of team calls, or are you talking one-on-one?
Personally, I'm just talking, like, I bounce everything off Kimber before I do it. But, and I'm not saying that Kimber's not my number one go-to, because she is for even stuff that is not concerning Beachbody at all. But more like just having like, I am considering making this post. Do you guys think this is of value, or do you guys think this is of crap? Basically a larger support system than what we've had in the last 7 or 8 months.
Yeah, so that's what we're trying to initiate, you know, is what we're trying to get this going again. Sorry guys, my Zoom is wanting to like shut me off in 7.5 minutes, so I'm trying to make sure that it stays on. So yeah, I mean, like I said, we're trying to make sure that the team calls gets back up and running, because
Stop it now.
we've all been struggling with is, you know, having that support system behind us. So I mean, if anybody is wanting to hop on these team calls and wanting to be a host, feel free to send me a message and I'll make sure that we can get it going. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, that's it. Just a general sense of support and community that's out there, because it's been quite some time since I've felt that, and Kimber and I have kind of fended for ourselves for a little while, and we've done great despite it, but I know both of us have wanted something more.
Yeah, no, I feel the same exact way, which is what we're trying to make happen. So right now, which is what I'm wanting to do, is brainstorm on topics that you guys are wanting to hear more about. If that makes sense to you.
I think I totally agree with what Sarah's saying. Like, I've thought sometimes too, like, when we were posting about the all access, when it just came out, like when I came up with the post, it would have been cool to post it in the group and be like, what do you guys think? Is this wording okay? Or should I use this wording? And just kind of get like a second opinion or a group opinion of other people who are motivated. I think that's more is what she's trying to say. Like, just like you know, like you said, we're going to try to build like the community up. I think that's good.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm saying. Like, if there's a promotion on, or if there's whatever on, I want to be able to go to a group where my post is going to be acknowledged at least, and someone is going to be honest with me and say, you know, Sarah, that's kind of salesy, or that's not really what you're looking to accomplish. Why don't you try wording it this way or saying it that way? Yeah, you got it right.
And I think the girls, even the girls that are on the call, like Kendi and Corey, like they really and will jump on there and tell, like I've asked them questions every once in a while, or Amy Fry, and the group is really good to do that. And I think the more active we are in it, the more people who will jump in and give advice. But I know I already do that sometimes, Sarah, so definitely just feel free to post. I always try to look through anytime someone posts in that group, I like automatically go check it out right away.
Okay, great. These are definitely good ideas and topics that we really need to refocus on, which is what I'm glad that we're doing. And I'm glad that we're all here and we're all kind of on the same page. You know, anything other than, you know, like having more team support, you know, any specific topics about your business that anybody might have questions about.
I don't really have a question, but I've been thinking about what I was going to talk about on a call, and I think I'll be talking about like connecting with your followers and just being like really authentic. And I know Kelly does a really good job with that already. But just really not being, you know, the salesperson, and not just even Beachbody coaches. You know, there's so many of us. Sometimes it's like, oh, you work with Beachbody, you know, so just kind of breaking away from that and kind of, I guess, being your own brand or whatnot. But I think that's what I'll talk about. And then I think just some of the other people, like Sarah said she would talk about shift work. Nicole, next week we'll talk about like challenge groups and using the app, which I really need. And then Ariana, I think you said share your story. And then Melissa, you said you would talk on the 6th, but I don't think there was a topic yet. And then Ashley was going to do like the harsh truths, and Kimber was going to do success partners. So just we can kind of know what everyone's already planning.
Right. And I hadn't quite picked a topic yet because I just wanted to hear what everybody wanted to learn more about. Okay. So one last time, anybody have any other questions about topics that they want to hear more about in the future? Nobody? Okay. So a couple other things that I wanted to go over, you know, questions that people might have about some of just like the basics when it comes to coaching. So going back to the 4 vital behaviors, 1 being prove the product works, 2, invite, 3, recognize, which is the new one, and then 4, personal development. So does anybody have any questions about how to be the proof that the product works? No, I think everybody's pretty clear on that one. Drink your Shakeology, do your workout, post about it. Okay. Now, what about invite? Anybody have any questions, comments, concerns? Something that hasn't worked for you, something that has worked for you? Anything?
I just have a question. I did a leadership group, and the coach like challenged us. He said, like, from that moment going forward, don't invite through a message, like get them on the phone. And it helped me a little bit, but then sometimes I find there are people who only can message, like they're busy, they need to come back to it. And then some people who don't like to talk on the phone. So I'm just curious, what do you guys do? Do you send maybe you send can we talk on the phone and then send them then invite over the phone? Or do you do everything over a message or a text message, or do you do meet up in person if you can? So I'm just curious what you guys do.
Personally, if it's someone that lives here, like where I live in St. John's, Newfoundland, then I will definitely go out with them. My experience has been that a lot of my coworkers are the people that I've been signing up. We're all law enforcement officers. We all work shift work. And so they kind of become your second family. So it's really easy to have that second conversation with someone. And if they have someone they want to refer to you, that conversation tends to flow quite easily, just because you already have a person in common and that person's already recommended you and kind of praised you up to the level that you want to be praised up, and that you deserve to be praised up, to be quite honest with you. It's really hard to put yourself out there in social media. It's really hard to be vulnerable, and oftentimes we get praised as being bloodsuckers, and the reality is that people don't understand what it is we actually do. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question at all, but that's my answer to your question.
No, perfect. That does answer it. I think meeting in person with people who are here is excellent. Anyone else, do you do more of your invites on the message or on the phone or anything like that?
Does anyone not do them on Facebook? Can you guys hear me? Sorry. Does anyone not do them on Facebook? Because I don't know. I just feel like I get anxiety when I have a lot of messages on Facebook.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I ran into, is that I had so many ongoing messages. When doing the interview process, it was just easier to schedule a 15-minute phone call and then just go through it over the phone. And I feel like it really connects with people more, and I can get a feel of what they really need better. But I just didn't know if any coaches did that, because like I said, it wasn't a new training, and I feel like that's kind of like top of the notch coach stuff, you know? Like, that's what the top 10's doing that we're not, you know? Something like that.
The 15-minute phone call.
Yeah.
And this is like an invite? Is that what you mean?
Yeah,
Or
like, I guess, you know, you ask them if they want to hear more details about it, and then you just say, well, it takes a lot of time to type it out. I know we're both busy. Maybe I can catch you on your way to work tomorrow, and we can chat about it while you're in the car or something like that. That way, when you get them on the phone, then you start asking them, like, okay, what fitness programs have you tried? You know, then you go down into it and really invite them.
so have you had success closing someone from a phone call? Like on the spot sign up? Or do you and
I haven't had much success at all the past year. No, but closing, that's something I really need help with. I don't even think it's closing. It's just execution. From what I have done, I get a lot of, I'll order it this week, and then they kind of fall off. So it has been my fault not staying up on the follow-ups, not calling back, not going that far. So that's really my bad. But I do notice that it really connects with them a lot better. And now when I send them a message or something, they really answer. And I feel like I haven't really done it that long, but I feel like if I really stick to it and really stay with my schedule and call them when I say I'm going to call them, that I think it would really make a big difference.
Okay. That's fair, because now, well, I guess one topic that would be helpful, Melissa, that we can add to the list is time management. That's like,
Ariana, are you still there? I think you froze on us. Okay, well, I'm definitely going to add time management to the list. Until Ariana gets back with us, I'm going to ask, what do you guys think about the idea of what if you had some sort of like acronym to follow for closing? You know, example, when I had a sales job, I was selling personal training, and we had this acronym to follow in order to close somebody. And it actually worked pretty well. So, I mean, it was called PIFSIT, PIFSIT. So it was pick a program. It was, I'm already blanking on it. It's been like 2 years since I've been there. Basically, you would figure out what their no was, why they would say no, right? And then you would figure out whether or not they, there was a way around it, type of thing. If there was some sort of like acronym or a list that you could kind of run through when it comes to closing somebody, would that be helpful for you?
I think so, because it would, like, I kind of go through it, like fitness, nutrition, what's motivating you, what's really motivating you, and then close it. But sometimes it's easy to forget or to skip one or not really go into detail with one. So I think I like that idea.
Okay, then what I think I'll do is I'll do some more research on, I mean, it is closing somebody. I mean, behind the scenes for us, it's closing somebody. Yes, it is its execution, and we're not trying to be a salesperson, but at the same time, you're closing them. So in order to know how to do it, you know, like the way that it works for you, let's, you know, come up with a few different ways on how to work with different types of people, if that sounds good for you guys.
I think my only concern is that it comes off like you're connecting with the person becomes second to making the sale, if that makes any sense. My biggest goal is personally, this is my second job, and I'm lucky because I get to say that I do this for a living out loud, whereas my real job, I can't really say what I do for a living out loud. I can't put it on social media. I can't anything. So my biggest thing is being authentic, because I don't want to be a part of anything that makes me sound like I am making you my best friend just to make the sale, and then once I make the sale, I'm leaving you, if that makes any sense.
That makes total sense. So definitely establish a relationship with them first. The only way that the acronym comes into play is just basically you kind of marking off like, okay, I went through this, I went through this, I went through this, like what is going to work for them personally, what isn't going to work for them. It's a way to help you, figure out.
Remember your steps of what you need to cover before you actually send them their shopping cart.
Correct.
I got you.
That's the best way to put it.
Most of the time, like I've noticed that the most success that I have is when these things typically just come up in general conversation. I've had new clients that I've literally met at the Toyota dealership getting maintenance done on my car. And the conversation comes up in the mom room where they have the little tiny room with all the toys and the kids, and they start talking. And then that conversation always comes up. It just always does. And I've had 2 clients sign up just from Toyota in the last, I'd say 3 or 4 months, because I'm always at Toyota lately with a recall, but that's a long story. So, just being out and about, having referrals, talking about it all the time. I haven't really ever followed the whole, list of 100. Because I would never message my pediatrician about health and fitness, or my dentist, or the guy that delivers the paper. So I don't have a list of 100 people, but the people that I've met just in my everyday life, and then people that I have met online just from referrals, that has been where my success lies. So having a little bit of like an acronym or a cheat to remind myself of things that I need to talk about with them, so that I can address those things before the question arises and they get kind of freaked out about spending money on themselves. I think that has been the major thing that I have fought consistently, is people really wanting to spend money on themselves. They'll spend money on everything else in the world, but they won't just spend that money on themselves. It seems like this huge hurdle. So I've had to kind of learn tips and tricks to just not make it sound like such a big expense, because to me it's not. I've lost over 70 pounds. For me, that initial expense was nothing compared to what we spent on our kids, going to kung fu practice, or you know what I mean? So the acronym would probably be a good thing, just as a reminder of, things to cover, going over those details with people.
Well, congratulations on your 70-pound weight loss. That's amazing.
I'm not yet.
Well, I don't think anybody is, it's a lifestyle. It's something that's going to go on for the rest of your life. So we're never going to be done. It's always just a journey. Okay. So that's definitely, I think, something that I will cover when it comes my turn for the team call. Let's go ahead and move forward. Let's see. Does anybody have any questions about how to recognize? Or maybe you can comment on stuff that has worked for them on how to recognize. Anybody?
That's a tough one.
Alrighty. Corey, do you want to go ahead and go first, or?
Oh yeah, I was just gonna say, I just struggle with that because I don't have like a large team, or the couple clients that I have had, they kind of just did it on their own, and they were so self-focused, they weren't even really on Facebook. So when I'm recognizing, like, I find it hard to balance, for one, not vomiting Beachbody and being like, oh my God, she just did this program and drank her Shakeology and thanks Beachbody so much and blah, blah, blah. But then also, what if I don't have a huge team or a whole bunch of clients right now? Do I just recognize for taking small steps? Should I make a post and tag someone because they won a water challenge? Or little things like that. So I'm just curious, like maybe Kimber and Sarah, I know they're probably a lot more active. How what do you guys do to recognize people? Or do you do it privately in a group or send them a private message or whatever it is?
Well, for me, I try to recognize people as much as humanly possible. So for our challengers, I recognize people daily. So does Sarah. Anytime we're responding to a client posting about what they're doing that day, they got their workout in, they drank their Shakeology, they had a good nutrition day, we're like, yeah, rock star. Like, we'll point it out to everybody, you know, just consistently what is working for them, and just, you know, just celebrating that one moment of victory, non-scale victories, scale victories, whatever it is. You know, I'll get people that have tagged me, challengers, they'll tag me, just letting me know like they're back on track, or, you know, and I'll take the time to recognize them at that point. I mean, they're sharing their journey, you know, with their, you know, network, and tagging me and just letting them know like how good they're doing. So I'm going to take the time to, you know, talk them up and recognize their hard work, because it really is their hard work. I mean, they were the ones that got up and worked out and did their meal planning. Like, I can guide them as much as I want to, but they're the ones that actually did the work. So I'm going to take the time to, you know, give them a shout out. I shout out Sarah all the time. I mean, she's like an amazing success partner, and, you know, and just the most awesome person to work with. And so, you know, I'll try to let everybody know what a rock star she is too, because, you know, it helps her as well.
You're making me blush.
You shouldn't blush. You're just a rock star. So, yeah, I try to take every accessible moment possible to recognize when people do good in their businesses or as a challenger in their lifestyle, just to keep them motivated and keep them excited about what they're doing. Because if they continue on with their journey, sorry about my tiny terrorist, by the way, he's very noisy right now. I just try to take that moment to recognize as much as I can, because it does make a difference. The positivity does pay you back, especially in your business. So that's just my suggestion.
All right, great. So definitely recognize anything big or small, because whoever that challenger is, especially if they're just getting started and they haven't made like a big transformation yet, those small things are definitely going to keep them pushing. So I say, you know, whatever you can find when it comes to recognizing, do it. Alrighty, so last one is going to be personal development. And I think this is something that we're all pretty good at. I know that we have all done, you know, like the You Are a Badass group with Kelly. Am I right? Yeah? No? Kimber, you haven't done it?
We haven't done it with Kelly. Kimber's read it. I definitely know Kimber's read it, but we haven't done it with Kelly.
Okay. Well, basically all she did was she just had like a daily group where it was, you know, read these chapters today, take some notes, and give us, you know, like 5 feedback, you know, or your whatever it's called, you know, like what you took away from it. So that was just something that she did. But the fact that we've all read it, so we're all kind of on the same page. What are some recommendations of some personal development, you know, like books or podcasts or videos or anything like that that you guys might have?
I listened to a lot of TED Talks. There's the like health and science one, business one. I definitely listen to that quite a bit. There's also a podcast that I would definitely suggest. Oh God, I cannot remember her name to save the life of me, but it is Earn Your Happy. I don't know if any of you have heard of that. I can definitely share the link in the group messages if anybody's interested. But she has these awesome like 10 to 15 minute quick share, and then she's got like the longer where she'll interview somebody who's done something substantial with their life, moving their businesses forward, whatnot. She's extremely inspiring, super smart woman. She was a super successful with as a health and fitness like cover model, and then now makes a shit ton of money. So excuse me for saying, oh, sorry, crying attorney terrorist.
Okay. Anybody else on personal development and you really liked or anything?
I would say one of the biggest books that was recommended to me by my former coach was The Four Agreements. And then if no one has read, and I know it's not like self-help, but The Alchemist is one of the best books that anyone could read, just because of the adventure it takes you on in and of itself. And then I would say Alan and I have invested a lot of time and money, Alan being my partner, have invested a lot of time and money into Tony Robbins stuff. And so anytime you can get your hands on anything Tony Robbins related, I would suggest that you take the jump. And he has his own podcast. We have bought the CDs to play in the car, especially when we go for long drives. And I'm Not Your Guru is on Netflix, I believe, and it is worth the 2 hours, I think it is, just the watch itself.
What's the I'm Not Your Guru on Netflix?
It's Tony Robbins. It's one of his the programs he runs, and it's about 2 hours long. And he goes basically just runs through one of his programs. So if anyone doesn't know Tony Robbins, he has a dozen programs running at any different time. It can be from finance to personal success. It can be anything in between. He really just, you pay thousands of dollars to go to these conferences, and the conferences can run day and night for up to 10 days, I believe. And I'm Not Your Guru is just a sneak peek at one of his conferences without having to go there. But basically the participants experience emotional breakthroughs, and it was just so eye-opening to me to watch that, to listen to his podcast, and to read his books, because he's got a couple of them, as well as his CDs. He also has his books on CDs, so they're great for when you're in the vehicle and you don't have really anything else good to listen to.
What was that second one that you had mentioned, Sarah?
The Alchemist?
Yeah, that one. The Alchemist.
It's probably one of the best books ever written, and it's not a self-help book, but it is all at the same time.
One more question. The first one that you said, the four group, what? Sarah?
It's the Four Agreements was the other one that she talked about, and that definitely, like, hands down, was one of my favorites so far. It's a little hippy dippy in the beginning because it goes through where it comes from and how it was derived, basically. But once you get past that first little bit of explanation, just the core values of the book are extremely beneficial. I learned a lot with that book. It just explains a lot about self-perception and, getting past what other people have basically done to lend you to believe things about yourself that are not true, basically, in a nutshell, if you're really going to break it down that into that kind of term. But it was life-changing for me, so it definitely was a very good book, and I would also suggest reading that if you haven't already.
Okay.
Thank you, Kimba.
You're welcome.
Alrighty, so here's an idea. So kind of going back to like what Kelly did with You Are a Badass, what if we did personal development groups where we focused on one book or one podcast or one something, where we got like anybody who wanted to participate to be a part of that, talk about takeaways and things like that. Would that be something you guys are interested in?
I will be.
that. I think that's awesome. Sorry. Yeah, that would be amazing, actually. As far as I'm concerned, that would be amazing. That's just my thought.
Okay.
Kimber and I have actually run a personal development like private group that we opened up to anyone instead of like a 5-day clean eating challenge or whatever. We did a 7-day personal development group,
And it was amazing.
it was really fucking successful. Like it was awesome.
Okay, well, awesome. Then we should definitely talk about doing one. Maybe, you know, like having you guys lead one or something. That way we can see what you guys are all about.
Down for the challenge.
You know, and then everybody can
absolutely
take turns or something, or, you know, do it the way that you want to do it. I think that's something that would definitely help me as well, because I know that when I first started over 2 years ago, I did the You Are a Badass one, and that really helped. And I haven't had much of that whole like team spirit thing, and I really want to get back on that. So I think that we're all on the same track here. Okay, so we are coming up to about an hour. Does anybody have any other comments or questions or anything before we head out?
I just wanted to throw out, I just read The Miracle Morning of a Network Marketer. Sorry. And it was really, really good in helping me like prioritize. I also read it while I was doing the 30-day push with Shailene Johnson, and that helped me like prioritize everything. But The Miracle Morning was really good, and yeah, like helping me set up a morning routine and just getting my mindset ready for the day and just making the most of my morning. So if you're having troubles with that, I would recommend reading that. Anybody?
Okay, great. I've got like a list of things here that I need to read or watch or anything. Alrighty, anybody else on anything that we've covered today? Kimber, can't hear you.
I don't have any question on anything we've covered today, but for next week's challenge group call, what are the things that I could help you guys most with?
In regards to challenge groups?
Yeah, using the app and challenge groups in particular, if there's any question about it, like what highlights could you use the most?
My suggestion would be maybe having like some sort of layout. Me personally, I like to be pretty organized when it comes to doing stuff like that. And my struggle is the fact that I haven't been. I know some people, you know, aren't, you know, like the organizational type or the OCD or whatever it might be. Everybody has our different style. But maybe having a few different ways of running a challenge group that might be successful, whether it be in the app or on Facebook.
Most definitely. Like Kimber and I have been running our groups together for over a year now, haven't we? Yes, absolutely. And we've kind of taken the boundaries out of it. So like when we started, we were running a group based on a script that our then coach had written. And then throughout the year, we were kind of like, yeah, this is garbage. We don't need this. This is more important. And we just kind of added and subtracted what works for us. And at this point, our challenge group does not encompass one program. It encompasses any program that anyone is doing. And for us, it works better because why am I just selling a challenge pack? Why am I excluding someone from a group because they're not doing the challenge that we're presenting to them? You know what I mean? So it's a little bit, if someone's done something that neither one of us have done, which I don't think we've even come across as of yet, it may be a little bit difficult. But for the most part, it's run really successfully. And we run 30-day groups as opposed to 21, like the 21-day fix.
Mm-hmm.
And we do it conjointly. So she'll take on so many weeks, I'll take on so many weeks. She may have a coach, I may have a coach, and they'll take on so many weeks under us so that all our bases are covered for daily posting.
And the interaction level has definitely been, it has increased over time just because we've kind of got it down to a science, even though, I mean, if looking outside, it probably looks like we fly by the seat of our pants half the time, but we've learned how to adjust depending on our clients' needs. And, you know, we've learned how to, you know, get people to interact a little bit better, you know, just by testing things out and trying things here and there. But yeah, I'm not really sure what else I can say about that, but
we're pretty solid with it.
Yeah.
Does that kind of help, Nicole?
Yeah, I mean, if you guys would rather tell us about what you guys do, I mean,
No, I mean, hey, we're not
interesting.
trying to take over anybody's call for sure, because everybody does it differently. So we're always interested in hearing what works for other people as well, because it, you know, it may give us an idea of something else to incorporate into the group. Like when we run the groups, we run both Facebook and the app. We have clients that don't like the app. We have clients that only like the app. So it just ensures that we're going to get a lot of activity. Sometimes do I wish we didn't have both? Yes, because it's double the work. But, you know, I'm always interested in hearing how other people run their challenge groups, because, I mean, we've pretty much had to make it or break it on our own without a lot of guidance. Just, you know, just the tidbits that we've received from other people. So I'm always down to hear what other people do in their groups. It's beneficial for sure.
And I really second that.
Okay, great. Nicole, any other questions on that?
No, because I think it sounds like what they're doing and what I do already sounds very similar. So, because I do it as like a mind-body thing. It's not just like okay, here's your challenge pack. Let's see what workout you did today.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit more about them and their journey through the whole thing.
Okay, great. Yeah, I think that having different looks on, you know, how to run a challenge group will definitely be helpful to everybody out there. So, you know, you sharing the way that you run it and maybe some ideas of other ways to run it, or having other people share the way that they run it, you know, could be very beneficial. Any other questions? Comment? Concern? No? Okay, well,
Nope.
Thank you everybody for joining today. There's only a few of us, but it was kind of a last minute notification. From here on out, every Monday, we are going to be having a team call. It's just going to be ran by somebody different every time. If you do want to sign up, if you're not already in the group, I think, are we all in Kelly's group for team calls? Sarah, are you?
Yep.
Okay, so we're all in it. Awesome. I did record this, so I will upload it and I will share it to the group. You know, make sure. Hey, Chris. Way to come in at the end of it.
Yeah, way to go, buddy.
But like I said, I did record it and I will upload it to the group. Just make sure to tag any of your success partners or anybody who's on your team, or you know, anybody in general at all. So anyway, it was great seeing everybody. Thanks for joining, and then we'll see you next week. Okay.
Bye.
Bye.